Wires up and welcome back, guys, to the Wires Up podcast. I hope you guys are well. I'm here on a Wednesday night recording. Oh no, it's a Tuesday night. Sorry, my apologies. The off season's already hitting me pretty hard. Um, but yeah, I'm here on a Tuesday night recording, and I've got a very special guest, someone that has helped me get a start in the content creation, Warriors content creation, and I'm very grateful for him being here this evening. Hold the ball, brother. How you doing, man? Welcome to the Wise Up podcast.
Oh, look, bro, thank you again for having me over, and it's a privilege, and look, I'm looking forward to this. But I want to say as well, I love the intro, bro. Love the beat, sounded pretty good. So I was grooving to that. But let's do it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, man. And if you guys, we'll get into Hold the Ball's a little bit of his bio at the end. But if you don't know, please go to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and look up Hold the Ball, and just amazing content. And we're going to get into some of his newer content as well, which he's expanding. So really exciting times for the brother. But guys, we're going to get into the podcast today. The run sheet just quickly. We're going to look at that game against the Broncos and reflect on that a little bit. A lot to talk about. And then we're going to do the podium. The gold, silver, and bronze. Who were the best three Warriors we thought on the park? Even though it was a loss, there's still some players that we can reflect on and think they did a good job. Then we're going to look at how we're feeling post and going into Mad Monday, Mad Tuesday now, and how we're feeling about the season. Then we're going to look at the 2023 year in total, just how we could sum it up, and then how do we adjust moving into 2024. We'll look a little bit at the Penrith v Brisbane, get Hold the Ball's thoughts on the grand final coming up. Then we're going to get into some awesome topics, which I know, if you don't know, Hold the Ball is very, and I myself as well, are really proponents and supporters of international footy, and we do have a great window coming up here as we speak in the next few weeks. So we'll get into a few of those topics as well. And then just quickly, a little bit of a bio at the end about the bro and how he started off and the Warriors and rugby league and other types of content. So we're going to get into it, guys, right now, and that is our run sheet for tonight. Okay, guys, that was, yes, our journey came to an end in the preliminary final against the Broncos on Saturday evening. I think it was 40-2 or 40-10 or 42-10, something like that. We made it this far, and unfortunately the journey ended on Saturday night. But we'll just talk about the game itself. Bro, Hold the Ball. What was your thoughts on the game, and yeah, just share anything that you might have thought about the game.
Yeah, look, I was very nervous coming into this one, last on Saturday, but I was, full of positive vibes, positive energy, and obviously, subsequently it wasn't the case. Look, I thought for mine, we were, how do I say this? I think we were bamboozled, really. I thought the Broncos really gave it to us. I suppose, not in a bad way, but almost like a separate tier, really, the way that they played. Honestly, the Broncos compared to how we played, not to use that word, but I thought it was really the case there. Again, they were clinical, they were good. It was, I don't know how else to say this. I almost feel like the Warriors, had like how do I say this? A set structure, a set way they wanted to play, and there was just no room for mitigating. There was just no room for adapting to what the Broncos were delivering, which I really didn't like. I thought we'd be able to sort of deter the offloads, and we just watched it happen, literally, like from minute to minute. But yeah, look, my overall thoughts just quickly on it. Look, it wasn't great. Full credit to the Broncos, but I was really disappointed in how we structurally, defensively, I think more so than the offensive end, just couldn't really get anything there. So yeah, that was my thoughts. Just outclassed, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it was. It was just, you're exactly right. Like, we watched a lot of things happen. The Broncos just almost just. It kind of reminded me of Warriors of past, where they just run past. Remember, there's like a run with Payne Haas. He ran past about 20 dudes, or Sal and Cobo just kept, and it's just like, what's happening out there, guys? I wonder if there's a lot. That's a lot to do with just running on empty. Like, I think had a massive weeks against the Knights. and not discrediting the Broncos, they just absolutely destroyed the middles, and exactly like you said, the offloads. They were just so. What was it? They'd go into the tackle, and then we wouldn't wrap them up in time, and then Flegler might have had 5 or 6 offloads, and Payne Haas had a couple. The centers had like maybe 2 or 3 each. It just got kind of a bit ridiculous there. We're just and yeah, it like you said, there's nothing we could do to mitigate any of those issues. There were periods where we got into a bit of a grind, and we kind of held them out, but it wasn't sustainable. I mean, and that's probably what we're gonna eventually talk about. But you're bang on, man. Now, a key point, obviously, the big talking point is the forward pass. My issue with the forward pass isn't so much about the forward pass itself. It's always the context, right, of the game. Do you think that in context-wise that forward pass was a big turning point?
Yeah, look, I mean, granted the Broncos were in front, right? But at that point, it wasn't. I think it was a margin that was at least doable, for us to chase. Yeah, so looking at it like that, absolutely, I do think the forward pass that wasn't called was absolutely controversial. I feel like had it been called, obviously, that's a penalty. That's our ball. That's a chance, and obviously, yeah, gone begging. So yeah, absolutely, I agree. Yeah. It
just felt beforehand. If you could, we went back and looked at it. It felt like there was a period there where we kind of got into our pattern. They were breaking us down initially, and it's so weird because if Pompey converts all those 3 tries, or at least 2 of them, it would have been 16-24, and mentally you don't think we're getting a hiding. We're still kind of in the game. So it was it's very weird to kind of reflect on it. But at the time, it felt as though we were starting to get some good sets defensively. We were maybe starting to tire them out a little bit. Not saying that, and I don't get Broncos fans saying, "Oh man, we were wasting." It's not. I think the Broncos would have won anyway. They were just killing us.
Yeah.
But it's just to say, well, if we got in a setback and we could build some pressure, who knows if we got a repeat set? It was around the 50-meter line, so it would have been a good offensive set to kind of attack on. That's all. It's not to say we would have won the game because of that, but it's just a shame that their referees are just really destroying the creating a level platform for people to play on. Do you think forward pass technology is the way forward, or what can we do to solve some of these howlers?
Oh man, I'm just really perplexed as to why common sense is just not being used. Like everyone in the stadium, and I hate to go there, but everyone in the stadium, but the 3 officials on the field saw it. I don't understand. Even Broncos fans were confused. Like, bro, like but of course, and I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna be it. And of course it's going to happen in the Warriors game. Of course the change is going to happen after a Warriors game. Of course. Like, we see... Anyway, that's another story in itself. But yeah, look, what do you sort of say, brother?
Yeah. It's... there's the problem with the NRL is they never correct any issues that they have. They always kind of hide them under the rug. We've had these types of calls happen to other teams in final situations, and they never seem to really resolve the issue. But you'd hope that, that they could use some form of technology, or if there's a way if it's blatantly obvious, that they could pull it back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind line balls as such. I don't think the bunker needs to intervene in that, but that was clearly 3 or 4 meters, maybe 5 meters forward, and I'm sure if a bunker just can't go through that, because the bunkers usually check offside, they check all these other things. Why can't he just quickly check if it's a big forward pass? Why can't you have that little bit of extra leeway for the bunker to be able to officiate on that? That's my only thoughts, but yeah. That's all we can do. Silence. The silence of the NRL. That's exactly what. But guys, look, I come back to the game. What impresses me about our boys is that, even though we got pumped, our boys, you can look at it and you can still see they're fighting. They're still trying to find a way to score. They're still trying to defend their hearts out, and that's part of the reason why, we've given them a standing ovation, even a loss, and us as fans are still proud of our boys. What do you think about that, bro? Our boys still trying to the end, even though we ran out of puff in a way.
Yeah, look, just to quickly go back, I feel like the forward pass that was let go was really the nail in the coffin, so to speak, for the boys. Like I feel like after that it was like, yeah, well, it is what it is. But look, I'm not saying they didn't try; they absolutely did. But I just felt like that was unfortunately the killer blow there. But yeah, you're right. After that, even so, you had Johnson, you had the lads there trying to tackle, trying to defend. Yeah, I really appreciate how they were feeling. And look, not many of us touched this, but from a psychological standpoint as well, it's a loss. You're not going to go to the finals, but you're still going to try to turn up anyone in the field. Like, we don't talk about that stuff there, so full credit to the lads there. And you're right, that's the reason why we love these buggers. So yeah, absolutely, bro. Good on them. Yeah. No matter what. Yeah.
Yeah, I tweeted on Twitter actually about 8 minutes to go in the game. I said, I just don't want, because you knew the season was over, and it was like all the momentum we had, the whole vibe of the club, the up the wires movement. It just felt like, oh no, it's going to end in 8 minutes time, But I just didn't want to lose the moment, and I think I just credit the Webby and the players. Like, they created a moment in time that you don't want to forget. And we'll get into that a little bit, but yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right there. Look, guys, we're gonna move into just quickly. Even though it was a loss, who do you think were our best three players? And we're gonna do that right now. Okay, my man. Yeah. Who? If you got a gold, silver, and bronze, the best you can. Who are the three players you, off the top of your head, that you could give it to?
Yeah, look, off the top of my head, look, if I'm going bronze, it's a tough one, but I think bronze, I'll probably go with Rocco Berry. I thought he was bronze for mine. If I'm going silver, I'm going Toy Harris, right? I thought he was superb that game. Again, just quickly with Rocco Berry, I just thought defensively, 27 tackles, 2 misses. He was absolutely a victim of that constant Broncos barrage on that side of the field. But I thought he did well. He did what he could. Granted, a few defensive miscommunication errors there. Sorry. And gold for me, I thought was Dalen Martinez-Lesniak. I thought he had another superb game. Granted, probably not in the fashion we're accustomed to seeing, but 2 tries, albeit defense here and there. But I just thought, considering his hit ups and stuff, running meters, those are my 3 anyway. For me.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't go far from that either. Personally, I think Berry, man, yeah, what a season he's had, and it's only the beginning with that kid. Kind of looking forward to him in the future. I totally agree with that. Yeah, and would love to see how he develops. And for me, Dallin, man, it was just that intercept that did a lot for. That was just exciting, those 2 tries that he got were just so exciting, and you're pumped at that stage, to think that we were going to really go on and win it. It's just unfortunate how it panned out, but he's delivered so many amazing moments this season. What a turnaround for him as well. We were coming into the season, and because he didn't start the season and Kossi, made that start, it was like, oh, do we really want Dallin? In my mind, I was like, oh, he's kind of expendable, but you just saw how great he is in the system and the culture and his confidence. I think for him it was all about his confidence, and he talked about that in a lot of his presses and interviews that he's done, is that the confidence that Webby's given him is just taking his game, and we're seeing now his true potential, man. So no, I totally agree with that, brother. And even in a loss, it's unfortunate, but it's just it's great to see, man. And I think everyone else, probably a few poor games. Pompey, you'd love to see him get. It's a shame because he got 5 out of 6 the week before, and just when you miss those 3, it's tough. But still tried his heart out. Everyone still tried their heart out to an extent, as much as they could. But the Broncos were just too dominant. But anyways, guys, that's our 3, 2, 1. That's our the podium there for us. We'll quickly check now to just how we're feeling, Bo, post. I suppose the season is over technically, and what's your emotions and how you're feeling for me personally, I'm feeling quite happy. Like I know it's weird to say this, but I was kind of relieved that the season was over. Maybe that's because I've been doing content and slowing down a bit, but in a way, just quietly happy and a little bit somber, but not so much somber, just like really joyous that the team. What's your feelings, bro?
Yeah, look, when the final whistle, was played, was blown, I went live, bro. I shed a tear or two, right? It's going back to what you're talking about, the WAS movement, again, everyone getting together, that something you haven't felt in years supporting the Warriors, bro. Like, it's something we're not really accustomed to be fair. Like, unfortunately, as things have gone in recent years, but it's sort of like the closing of a curtain, and I suppose reflecting on that. Granted, I'm happy. Granted, I'm thankful for the season, and to be fair, I'm elated. I thought we did really well. I loved it, but at the same time, it is as you said, a closing of the curtain. But hopeful, obviously, that the curtain reopens very soon, and looking forward to wise up all day. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the lads coming in as well. But yeah, all good at the end.
Yeah, all good at the end. Actually, I think really like positive feelings in general. Like, I would have loved to have gone to the airport and welcome the boys home. I just couldn't get up there at time. I wish there was something that we could celebrate them if they had an event, if the club put something on. It's very tough at this time of year. I suppose boys are literally either going into international footy or they're going into holidays. So hopefully we can celebrate them by supporting them next year and continuing to, get behind the boys as we move forward. So yeah, I'm very much the same as you, brother. If you could have one word or a sentence or something to sum up 2023, what would that word or sentence or thing be for you, bro?
For the Warriors, for me, I think one word would be awesome. Awesome. Yeah. It was awesome to see what happened the year it was. Being blessed enough to go to Suncorp, doing Magic Round and stuff and experience it.
Yeah.
All up, yeah, awesome as, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd probably use the same word, awesome or unbelievable, because just wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting that much of a turnaround. I didn't even expect the New Zealand public to get behind him that much. In a Rugby World Cup year where rugby is the dominant code here, and everyone's getting behind it. Traditional rugby people are getting behind the rugby league scene over here. So it was just an amazing run of just popularity. I thought the media team were always good. The Warriors media team released awesome content. So it was awesome and unbelievable in my eyes, bro. Exactly the same as you. Just quickly jump on to adjustments now. There is some things that maybe people will think about them over the next couple months. And everyone's different. Some people, as soon as the whistle's blown, they're already thinking about what to change. For others, you might want to process that a bit over time. At the end of the day, it's not us that's making decisions. It's up to Cam, George, Cappy, and Webby to make those calls. But mate, if you can think of anything and if there's anything that you have thought of, what do we need to do in terms of recruitment or even play style, those types of things? Do we need to adjust the way we play? What's your thoughts, bro, in that space moving into 2024?
Look, bro, honestly, just quickly, I was about to hide when you sort of mentioned the people who were thinking about changes straight away, so...
Oh, no, I'm the same. The next day I was in.
Yeah. No, all good. Look, changes. Well, I think for mine, a big one, a glaring one, I think is the forward pack, right? If we're talking on individuals, obviously, we've got the likes of RTS coming back, CHT coming back. It almost seems like a reunion, really, but yeah, look, honestly, I just feel like we need to really zone in on the forward pack. That's not to say the likes of Adam Fanor Blake and Mitch Barnett haven't done a good job, or Toy Harris. No, not at all. I'm saying we need some guys around those blokes to bring more emphasis, more domination, because I almost feel like going in a prelim, right? What we saw there was, that's the difference between good forward packs, to be fair with you, that are ready to just bust and grind, and the glaring unfortunate holes that we've experienced during our season came to the forefront right there in the prelim, unfortunately. But that's my opinion. I think, yeah, just main focus on the forward pack. I'm not too concerned about the backs. I feel like with the puzzles pieces we have, I'm confident we'll be able to do some stuff there. But, bro, I just need to say this one more time. That forward pack needs to be looked at. Maybe even the props in particular.
Yeah, you're bang on, bro. And all the discussions I've had, and I know we're in a few groups online, the talk is forward pack. I mean, people blame Pompey and a guy like that, Montoya. At the end of the day, how we got beat on Saturday was through the forwards. We couldn't contain Flegler, Haas. And that's been an issue with other teams. If you think about the Roosters, South Sydney's, the teams that we've lost to, for one, would have beaten us or have beaten us at times through the forwards, getting that domination. So these are the fine margins, like you're absolutely saying. Asking yourself, how do I beat a Payne Haas next year? What can I do to support Adam so that, him one-on-one with Payne Haas was probably going to beat him, be honest. I think Adam's running meters was only 90-something meters. Haas was like quite up, and so you got to ask yourself, how do I beat a Payne Haas next year? How do I beat a JFH and a Leota again? And who's that type of player that's gonna bolster that so that I can have a maximum AFB, and then I can have someone else that's gonna be just as good, man. You're thinking, just quickly, you think Daniel Saifiti? I know he's on the market. Do you think he's someone we should definitely go after?
Oh, 100%. We need big bodies. We need big bodies. Not taking anything away with the lads we have, but look, Daniel Saifiti will only be a positive for us, 110%.
Yeah. Saifiti. So that's the difference, between good and great, a premiership and no premiership, is that forward pack. Would you be happy with Tohu kind of playing the same role next year in high minutes? He's kind of been around the 60, 70 minute on average, or even 80. Or do you see Tohu kind of getting a reduced role? What's your thoughts on that one?
Oh, look, I think next year I have no issues, no qualms with him being at lock. I feel like if we were to put him at prop, then get ready for injuries, like, no offense, but just get ready for 2022 to happen again, right? Or even the year prior. I like where he's at. I'd almost probably play him at reduced minutes again, just to get the most out of him. Work to his strengths next year again. We'll have to see, but yeah, I wouldn't be against less minutes for Tohu Harris. He needs it. I want him to be stretched out more as a player. So yeah, if we could do that, that'd be great, in my opinion.
Yep. And Barnett, I mean, we're kind of talking. He was kind of a starting prop this year. He's obviously had his neck issues, and he's done well to come back and still be impactful. Done a great job for us. That's the kind of position we've talked about. Maybe a Daniel Saifiti taking that spot off of Mitch. Do you see Mitch going back into the back row, or do you see Mitch kind of going back into the bench as a impact forward? And obviously, if he does go back to the bench, that would in turn push someone out off the bench, and who might that be?
Yeah, gotcha. Look, again, respect to what Barnett's done this year, but again, we're putting a second row into a props position. So yeah, look, for mine, if we can get a Daniel Saifiti, for example, or maybe even a Luke Thompson, if there was ever something there. Look, I'll definitely have Mitch Barnett in place. And obviously, you got the likes of Nukore, right? Probably him and him, but yeah, look, I'll be looking at, for me personally, I'll be looking at Curran in the bench, honestly, or either starting. I probably would put Ford away. I know it's tough, but someone's got to go, so I'd pick Ford to go. Bro, that's my thoughts on it.
Or who's to say that Ford isn't looking for another gig? Some of these guys like a Luke Metcalf or Jackson Ford, they literally came over as cast-offs and with a point to prove. And maybe Jackson's made his point, and maybe there's a club wanting him. That's going to be an interesting discussions and in terms of the November 1st, when players are allowed to go and discuss contracts. So there's interesting talking points. Be interested to see what team we line up with. But we'll go to the backs quickly. RTS, it's again great to have him. Guys have played out of their skin, the likes of CNK. We've got some depth in the centres. Do you feel he naturally fits back into that centre role? And if not, do you think he may be, in fact, take over CNK's role? How do you see that play out?
Well, look, and I suppose this goes back to even our conversation before this, really. What's to say he's even a decent centre? Like, again, no disrespect to Roger at all. He's a Dally M winner. He's an NRL Premiership winner. He's done it. He's been there. But what's to say? I guess we all just assume that he'll slot in anywhere because of a superstar aura, which he has and has earned. But look, in all honesty, look, obviously, I think you'll just slot him at centre. But if things don't work out, I just don't know, bro. Like, you can't touch that fullback position. It becomes an awkward talking point. Do you put him in the wing? I don't know. That's I don't know, bro. Hopefully at centre. At centre, you put him at centre. You just pray that he goes well there, and he's still the same Roger we knew of 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think Webby's a very big preseason coach. He'll have a plan. Well, he presented something too. Because I caught. I don't know if you caught the little trailer from Monty Beethan's page of the interview. How he does the Once a Warrior, whatever it is. He said Webby presented him like a full-on slideshow or whatever PowerPoint of what the plan was for him. So Webby promised him something, and I'm not sure what that is, but there's a plan there. And if he doesn't hold his bargain, he might go off to Japan. But there's something there. We'll be interested to see. Now on the flip side, I mean, me and you talked about it off air, but Webby kind of sold the vision to RTS. Not too sure if Webby sold the vision to CHT, but whether or not CHT came back knocking on the door and say, "Hey, how you going? Is there a spot for me?" But what's your thoughts on CHT? It does again add more problems as opposed to solutions in some sense. We've just talked about Mitch Barnett being dropped back to the bench, which would then take wouldn't be able to have CHT technically as a bench utility, or and then Webby said that he's a halfback. He's a half. So what role do you see CHT playing, bro?
Look, realistically, there are some roles you could put him in. Like you could put him technically at centre if you wanted to. I think you could obviously throw him there in the halves if you wanted to, or you could chuck him coming off the bench. But again, the big question is who moves for him. And I suppose that the more you spend time reflecting and mulling over it, the more you sort of realize, and again, not being disrespectful here, but you just realize, where do you really put CHT? If you put him in the halves, well, you got Metcalf, you got Volkman, Te Maire Martin, right?
Yeah.
If you put him in the bench, well, hello, Dylan Walker, Jazz Tavanga, Bunty Alfoa, Tom Ale, Sifakura, the list continues. I think adding CHT is probably not going to be as smooth as we think. I mean, it's all good and well for us to say he'll just jump on the bench, sure, but that's someone else's bench spot, particularly with our young juniors coming through the ranks, missing out. It's a dilemma, and it's one that I don't like there, brother. I want to be really honest. So I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it at all. No, not at all.
That's cool. And hey, we need to. This is a great. Again, this isn't knee-jerk reaction. This is well thought out. We're not feeding off of Facebook comments here on Warriors fan pages, where some people just destroy people without any actual validity to fact. We're actually talking here, and we're trying to break down how it actually fits in the puzzle. And at the moment, I think both of you and I can agree, you can't see a vision for it yet. At least us, we can't see it. And that's where I go back to how does this team evolve? Like, I think for us watching the game this year, there was a very clear pattern of play, a very clear play style. I wonder if Webby even takes it to another level that we haven't seen yet. I mean, I don't think he will, but you never know. You never know. We thought this 4-pack, personally, I thought this 4-pack wasn't going to be able to cope. It did, but it lost out eventually to a top 2 team, or two teams really. and those are the margins now. That's kind of a little bit of the expectation is like, okay, we want to compete with Penrith and Brisbane. What can you do, Webby, or what can we do to evolve to that level way? And that's where we're kind of sitting. Really interested to see what comes out of preseason next year. And a guy that I was just quickly get your thoughts on, Tane Tuopiki. Now he's got like a player option, I think, for next year. He seems like one that I'm sure a team would like to pick up. But do you see Tane getting picked up and leaving? Next year.
I do. I really do. I mean, look, especially with the addition of RTS, right, and then the addition of CHT, I feel like where they sort of get a run because if Chance, touch wood, gets injured next season. We all know who slots in there, and it's not going to be Tane. Unfortunately, it ain't. It just ain't. That's the reality there. Too low in the pecking order. Unfortunately, I do see him going elsewhere. Off the top of my head, I reckon there's a few clubs that could definitely do with his services, even if he is a second, string fullback.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, unless you want to stay around someone like Roger and sort of gain some experience and taught the likes of Toy Harris and Chancellor Klukstad, so on and so forth, you stay. But for his playing career, is it really a wise move? I suppose I bring the question to you: is it really a wise move to stay? Then, could you try and help me out there?
Yeah. I think for a lot of these young fellas, you got to take the opportunities when they're there. Someone like Tane for me feels ready to go. We saw enough. I felt he's in the Jaden Campbell mold, and that mold can work in the NRL with the right pieces around him. Like I think Jaden Campbell was a great example that he can be very useful. It depends, on a lot of teams whether, if he does leave, then he probably will be initially a cover for their other fullbacks. I mean, I don't know all the fullbacks in the NRL, but I would imagine there's a few that, he'll have to sit behind. But he is a quality player, and if he does stay, it's because he loves the club and he wants to be in that environment still. And probably because no other offers have come up, really. In my eyes, if he doesn't get other offers, then and if the Warriors have given him an offer, then I'm sure he'll just sit on that. But he's great quality. He's good depth, man. He's all of our depth guys. I thought Lussick, Tuopiki, everyone that's come in from Cup, I thought have done a really good job. Like I got to give credit to the Cup coach. I think it's Slade Griffin as well. Webby, they've all done a really good job. They haven't missed a beat, so that's one thing I've been really impressed with. That's while we're here as well, Volkman and Metcalf. Metcalf to my end. Now Sean has signed on for 2024. He looks to be in good nick. I would assume he'd play majority of the season next year. Metcalf looked amazing. Tamaide probably couldn't give him a full wrap on coming back off an injury. Volkman is killing it in Cup. It looks evident that he could probably go to another level or be in a starting role. What do we do, man? And how would you approach next year's starting halves pairing? What's your thoughts just off the top of your head? Yeah.
Yeah, look, just to go what you're saying. Look, for starters, I'll have Sean Johnson, right? And in my own opinion, and I get it, a lot of Warriors fans have different opinions, but for me, I really like what Metcalf brought, so I'll have him as the 5'8" there, with no question. Again, just purely because of what he brought offensively. The defensive mishaps, that's something that can be taught, and I'm sure Webby will work with him, and they'll have a lot of sessions together, I'm sure. But look, in regards to everything else, I mean, I almost feel like we have a lot of halves, in my opinion. We have a lot. And the quality is pretty good because, you touched on Tamaide Martin. Now, granted, probably wasn't the best last month, but again, he come off injury, so it's not too fair on you can't be too critical of him. He needs to go through that preseason and et cetera and get back to it fully. Yeah, that's what I have. But in regards to, it is tough. I almost feel like one of these players will leave. Is
Yeah.
that a big call? But that's what I reckon. Volkman, I don't like to say it, Volkman, or maybe even Metcalf, bro. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like someone's gonna leave.
Yeah, very interesting. It's going to be some interesting times. I actually would agree with you there. I think Metcalf, we kind of miss someone like Metcalf. That explosive pace, a point of difference, could have been useful against Brisbane. Um, yeah, it's very tough. He could probably go. He could land a gig. Again, a lot of these guys, they kind of got their own little issues. Like Metcalf has got the hamstring issue that came up again. It's like he might not get any offers. You just don't know. And I'm sure he would love to be I think he would love to be a starting half in the NRL. There's Super League options there, for a lot of guys, potentially. Volkman as well, potentially. So, yeah, it's going to look very different, I would say. I think Tamaida would be pretty much the only one that looks set to stay. But if you could get Metcalf again, mate, I would love to have him. I thought he was a good like you said. You can learn those defensive issues over time. You've got to remember he was away for the first 10 weeks or whatever, and maybe he needs to build those reps up with his insides and his outsides and that type of thing. So good call there, man. I think that's a good wrap up, guys. Anyway, of current things we're thinking about. You got anything else, brother, that we might have missed or off the top?
No, look, no, not at all. I think we've covered everything. It really is about seeing what happens this off season, and I'm sure we'll get the news there. We'll touch on the 1st of November, so it's all interesting times ahead, bro.
Yep. And that wraps up that part of the talk. People, we had a good chat. Now we're going to quickly go into the a few other topics here. We're going to go quickly now into the grand final. Okay, I think it's fair to say the two best teams in the comp are in the grand final, and it's only fair that they've earned their right to be there, and it's actually a really good matchup. I'm quite excited for it, brother. Off the top of your head, Penrith going for a three-peat, 3 and 4 years, that would solidify them in my eyes as probably the best team since the inception of the NRL. Potentially, Broncos, a young outfit that's rearing to go, and Adam Reynolds solidifying his legacy if he wins this one is one of the greatest to do it at two different clubs. And the likes of a Cooper Cronk would be could put himself in real high esteem if he does pull it off. There's a lot of storylines out of this one, but ultimately, man, who do you think wins this one, and how do you think the game will go?
Look, if you don't mind, just quickly, speaking of storylines, look, obviously you touched on Reynolds, but on the other side of the coin, there's Nathan Cleary, 25 years old, possibly his third premiership in a row.
Wow.
I'm telling you, look, man, I don't want to go there, but I want to go there. If he wins this, bro, he has to be there in that conversation, bro. Maybe not fully in there, like amongst it, but bro, he's knocking on that door of that GOAT conversation, and he has to be. Like at such a young age,
yeah.
Obviously, probably needs a daily M, but man. Anyway, yeah. If you didn't mind, what were your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I for a lot of those Aussie halves, they need a bit of origin success as well, like sustained success. I think of Thurston. He was one that really kind of dominated origin. Joey Johns did. And I'm not. He's got a long way to go. He could have a period of dominance at any point, And so, but three premierships in a row. Yeah, if you get a Dally M over that time frame, like I don't even think many of those. I don't know how many Dally M's and Johns and Thurston got. They might have got one each, maybe. I have no idea. But say if you got two Dally M's, Blimmin, points record, just everything. But at the end of the day, he will be, bro. He'll probably end up with 4 or 5 premierships, the way they're going. If he was to do 4 or 5 in a row, man, go straight away. There's just you couldn't. Even the 3-peat, man, is insane in the modern era. So you're pretty much putting him up there, man. I was only thinking Reynolds would interesting for his legacy is that he's done it at 2 different teams. You know, that'd be in my, and it's not GOAT talk, but it's like great for his CV to see him go, you know, 2 different teams and to help both those teams win a premiership. Yeah, I think it would be great. It's great, man. Reece Walsh, mate, what's your thoughts on him? Yeah.
Yeah, look,
I can see I hate this guy.
bro. What was the other question again about the tooth? Yeah, look. Okay, look. Just no emotion in this. You know, hats off to him. I think he's a good player, and I'm happy for him that he's in the grand final. Yeah, I'll say that. I think like good on him. Like good on him for sure. So.
Yeah.
Big future
he's
ahead.
a talent. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talented players that we don't necessarily agree with their personalities or characters. You can go through every sport nearly, and there'll be someone that's polarizing in that sense where they're an amazing talent, but from a personal view, you may not agree with a lot of their. And I find the same with Reece in many cases. He'll be interesting to see how he plays. That speed will be interesting. Can he use that speed against Penrith? It'd be interesting to see how they unlock that. Just on the forward packs, bro. Do you think it's an even match, or do you think ultimately Penrith will be stronger over the duration, or what's your thoughts on that space?
We'll become so accustomed to seeing the Penrith Panthers just play so well in big games, you know. But I feel like it would be unfair for me to say that the Panthers would have the better pack. I really think coming into this game here, both squads are even. You know, with all due respect, I really think, in all honesty, they both cancel each other out. And I think that's what makes this game really good, is these forward packs. I think, you know, like, this is it. This is it. Like, this is the big test for both of them. Like, I don't think it gets any better for both these teams. So, yeah, coming into this, they're made for each other. So, it's going to be an even matchup for me, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of they all cancel each other out. It'll just come back to big moments, and I do agree with you totally that Penrith know how to control in the big moments. They know how to seize the moment. They know if they get momentum or an error, they just pounce on it. They know how to make you suffer and pay for your mistakes. And that's the question. You know, can the Broncos live with those mistakes that they're prone to? I mean, we look at it. Even though they were way better than us, we still scored 3 tries on them. You know, we got an intercept try. You know, who's to say that Crichton and that can't get an intercept again off of a Reece Walsh pass? So there's all those variables that favour Penrith. But if the Broncos get it right on the day, it can be near on unstoppable. Not to say that will happen, but there's so many things it will come down. I think it's going to be a big game for the decision makers, Reynolds and Cleary, making the right decision at the right time. Reece Walsh, again, someone that is a decision maker with his passing. Can he make the right decision? Whereas I think on the Panthers side, it's a lot more safer. I mean, you're going to go through Yeo, you're going to go through Cleary. Luai might be a little bit loose, but in general, he plays it quite safe. He moves around a lot, but still, he's not doing anything overly risky. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle, I reckon. Now, who do you think wins, bro? Overall, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, the team I'm backing, I'm going to back the Penrith Panthers. You know, again, you know, full respect to the Broncos, but again, the Panthers, like their history of 3 in a row, and if they get it, like you were touching on before, bro, I agree with you wholeheartedly, bro. If they get 3 in a row, they're the best team in the modern era of NRL. Like, they have to be. Like, they're better than the Storm of old. You know, the Roosters going back to back, or 3 in 6 years if you want to go there. Bro, they're the best team of the modern era. End of story. Like, better than the Raiders, in my opinion. Like, that's it.
Yeah. It would be because they've been so dominant consistently. Like, it wasn't like one year where they were, you know, down and they fluked it. These were all dominant performances. They've been dominant in finals. You know, they lost that one to Melbourne, and you know, every team has to have that moment. And you know, for me, I'm hoping that was our moment this year, but you just don't know. But you know, they've had their moments, and they've built their club to where they are. It's a great story for Ivan and Nathan and everything. But they are just that cut above if you really look at it. For my sake, I would love to see the Broncos at least compete and be a close final. For them, that would tell them they're not far off. But if it was to be another blowout or hiding, then it would really cement them as the greatest of all. Even winning by a small margin, but if they were to do it in such a dominant fashion, it would be like, whoa, okay, we've witnessed one of the greatest eras of all time, and it might not be over. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I think any other thoughts on that grand final, brother?
Look, not at all, but I will say though, like big reps to the Broncos for making it through. But it really is an experienced side versus a side that's a few years ago they're wooden spooners, right? So it's sort of that type of matchup there. Can they do it? Have to wait and see. But yeah, that's probably all I have to say.
All good, man. There you guys go. You have it, guys. That's our thoughts anyway, at least on the grand final. We're going to go into a bit of international footy, something we're both passionate about, and we're going to get into that right now. Okay, mate. It's been Mad Monday for us, but in a few weeks' time, there is a great a tournament coming up. I suppose for. We'll probably start off. I'll start off at the Pacific Championship, where we've got the Kangaroos, the Kiwis, and Toa Samoa playing. Off the top of your head, how do you think that tournament will go? Are the Kangaroos still favourites? How do you think Samoa will coming back from the grand final last year? I know they'll try and want to have a point to prove, and will try and definitely make the grand final. And I think the Kiwis got a point to prove as well, losing in the semi-final. What's your thoughts on that space, bro?
Yeah, look, I think all three teams come in with high expectation, and rightly so. But like with all things international rugby league, regardless of what you think of them, you just can't rub away or do away with the Kangaroos, right? Like you just can't. Like Australia, they literally, look statistically, anyway, look, but yeah, I really do like Toa Samoa's case. The one thing I like about Toa Samoa though is the mystery surrounding the squad. And it's all easy for us to sort of pick some players, but I generally think they're going to throw some really interesting players there. Tino Fa'asuamaleaui might put his hands up to play as well, right? Fa'alonga from the Storm, like he's someone that I'm hoping gets picked for Toa Samoa. Like I would love to see him play, bro. Again, but there's just so much mystery that surrounds that squad in a good way. But yeah, just quickly, just going back to the Kiwis again. Really liking the forward setup, the make. But I think the big question surrounding the Kiwis is who are we going to go for in that hooking position, right? Because obviously you got Brandon Smith there, but just discreetly, I've really been liking Phoenix Crossland, and
same.
A lot of people don't even know that he was born in Wellington.
Yeah.
So look, it is what it is, man. Expecting the Aussies to come in with a strong squad, no matter who, bro. Like, man, they've just got players for days.
Yeah, and the guys, I think they got to understand the comparison of the Kangaroos is literally like the All Blacks in the Southern in the world. Or who have they are that dominant, and no matter what team they bring, the Kangaroo way of they always find a way to win. They just have that about them, and they should sit favourites easily. Even with the Latrell Turbo, they've got enough there to definitely win the comp. You're right, Toa Samoa, they'll have some. It's interesting to see who they'll pull, and they've got a big chance. Look, I'm not even kidding myself. I remember the 2010 Four Nations. They nearly beat us in Whangarei, the Kiwis. They've come a long way since then. They've got a pretty stable hub in terms of Luai. To'o is going to no doubt he'll put his hand up. Crichton. You add those pieces together and they're very solid. So be interested to see their 4-pack. Yeah, I know. And then for the Kiwis as well, it's like. Yeah, I would love Phoenix Crossland, man, personally. I'd love him to play. I'd love Brandon to come off the bench, actually. I think that's kind of where I see Brandon in the international space. And then obviously, yeah, there's a few things to think about, but Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Just quick, I actually forgot to mention this, but a few results over the weekend. The Prime Minister's 13 for Papua New Guinea and the Kangaroos. Surprisingly, the scoreline wasn't a big blowout. Did you get a chance to watch that one? And if you did, or if you haven't, but the scoreline kind of says, well, they kind of hung on there.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, this game here in particular, I didn't watch. I won't lie, though, I don't tend to watch the Prime Minister games. I don't know why, I just don't. I never have. But yeah, look, I did see the result at the end there. I was really surprised, but in saying that, full credit to Papua New Guinea. They're forever growing that team internationally. And just quickly, one thing I'll say about them, man, they, honestly, if you want to meet a team that literally doesn't give a damn about their life, just players that just run, players that just run straight at anything, bro. They are the team. They don't care who you are, man. They will just, bro, they'll run at you with everything they have, bro. I love that.
The kamikazes of the Southern Hemisphere.
110% they are the kamikazes, yeah. But it was really close. Good on them, man. And apparently it was their second string side too from Papua New Guinea, apparently. So there you go. Yeah. I'll just throw that there.
For those that don't know, the Digicel Cup that they play in, bro, it is good quality. If I'm being honest, it's probably better quality than the New Zealand Rugby League, like the ARL over here. They're sharp, bro. I'd actually love to see their best team go up against, Point Chef Pirates, and I think they'll destroy them, bro. I'm not being disrespectful to. That's just the level of their domestic league there. It's very, very good quality. And even their junior Kummels played the junior Kangaroos there. And I think they did it was quite a close game. So, again, just credit to them. And things are going to be invested. Albanese's putting money into them. I know they're having the... who's it? PNG, Fiji, and who's the other nation that's playing? Cook Islands.
Cook Islands, yeah.
Who do you think will win that one? That comp?
Oh, bro, that's another juicy one. I think it's just as appetizing, juicy as the other teams we just mentioned, bro. It's so tough, but I'll say this, bro. Who doesn't love a Fiji versus Papua New Guinea matchup, bro? Oh, bro. Honestly, oh man. Look, it's really tough. I feel like Papua New Guinea could pull it off, but man, don't be surprised if Fiji do. I don't mind the Cook Island team at all, but without being disrespectful, I do see this though as a PNG versus Fiji, to place on top.
Yeah. It does feel like that a little bit as well. I think PNG they have a much better domestic player pool, quality wise, but the Fijians they have their NRL spread, and that always will come back to help them in a way. But it's going to be a great matchup, great tournament, great for the people of PNG. Now, quickly on the other side, we do have some female women's comp. We've got the Kiwi Ferns against the Jillaroos. I think there's maybe a 2-test series there. I know there's going to be the Tonga women's team playing there. And I think is it PNG, Fiji, and Samoa. I'm not sure, but I'm not too sure on that one. What that team's going to be. They're going to be playing another tournament as well. Jillaroos obviously favourites, you think, and Kiwi Ferns got some really exciting crossovers from the rugby union world. Broughton, a lot of them have come over, and it could be a really good matchup physically and out wide. What's your thoughts on Jillaroos v Kiwi Ferns?
Yeah, look, honestly, I don't mind watching the Kiwi Ferns play. But in saying that, obviously, look, Jillaroos, they're just a very strong team, just like the men's team, bro. But yeah, my thoughts, I did hear about that. Look, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see us, win it. I think the difference is in the forward pack. I'd like to see, some of the big girls there, do their thing. But yeah, look, just have to wait and see. But my thoughts there, look, I'm liking what's happening. And obviously it shows that there's a very good rush of momentum for Women's League in New Zealand, which I think is a big positive there because, yes, the more that go there, beautiful. I couldn't give two rats about Union there, but beautiful, more league, beautiful, bring it on. So, yeah.
And it's actually a good shout out. We forgot to mention, but Cameron Georgian that did put an application for a women's team in 2025, which is going to be great. I'd imagine a lot of our girls that are playing in other NRL teams right now, our NRLW teams, will come home. And I hopefully they can put in some more work in the grassroots underneath to get some more development, because there's some great girls playing out there, raw talent. I know today they had this in New Zealand under 18s and under 16 girls comps, and so there's raw talent there. It just needs to be grafted in and developed. So interesting times for women's rugby league in New Zealand for sure, and across the globe. I think there's a lot of growth. I did watch a little bit of the Canada v USA today. Was in the Tri Nations there with Jamaica. Probably a few levels below, but it's getting there. At least they're having these competitions and they're building for something, which is great. So I'm with you there, brother. That sounds good. I'll finish off. Actually, I'll finish off the international stuff, and I got some stuff about expansion, stuff that I've seen you talk about, which I would really like to get into. But we'll quickly go into France. Actually, we'll do England Tonga coming up. Interesting times for England. I know they've had a reduction on their Super League deal, so less money being put into their structures over there. But there are some good signs in terms of Catalan's doing really well. I know that's a big team that you support. A big chance for them to win the Super League this year. Toulouse is on the come up. So surrounding England is good, but England v Tonga, who do you think wins that one? Do you think do you think they're going to get a hiding out? The Tongans going to get a hiding, or do you think it'll be quite fair and a good matchup?
Oh look, I've got to back Mate Matonga,
Yeah.
Look. In saying that though, you can never take anything away from England. They really are a good team, and they're tier one for a reason. Although some may argue they shouldn't be, but anyway, I digress. Look, this game here for me, I think it'll be a very physical game. I can expect both teams here to be physical. I really think it'll be a physical game from both. But I'll just say this though. Just quickly, I reckon Adam All Black will be the captain of the team. I'll throw that, and I reckon Mate Matonga will win it. I've just got to back the boys in red, but I think AFB. I expect him to be captain 100%.
Yeah, I know AFB is leaving, which is great for him, and great for their they're a really good side. I've grown to. I mean, I was a bit upset when AFB and all those guys left, but to see what they've done has been something beautiful. And I think it's great for our game. It's great that we can send someone over for England to keep them going while we do something here, and the island nations, we need to keep fostering it, building it, implementing. We need to even get more investment in the actual islands in Tonga, where we can have, centres of excellence there to bring guys directly like a Conrad Hurrell or, bring them direct from Tonga into the NRL, which I think should be the ultimate goal as well. But no, I actually think it's going to be a great series. I'm looking forward to it, and would love, if Adam gets the captain, that'd be just awesome for his season. He's had an amazing season. Let's talk France, mate. They did beat Serbia. I mean, there was a bit of a hiding, and Serbia probably a cut below, quite a few tiers below the French. The French are in a very tricky position where they're kind of in the middle ground in Europe, where England did beat them 60-something in the mid-season, but they're too good for the likes of Serbia, Germany, Netherlands, the surrounding nations, even Wales, Scotland, probably in Ireland, Italy, even if you had that. And so, what can we do for France, bro? And what's the steps forward? How do we develop them? Is it 2 teams in Super League? Or is there more work that needs to be done in the grassroots?
Yeah, look, what we don't need to do is cancel out a Rugby League World Cup. That's number one. That's step number one. So long as we can clear that up, never make that happen again, that'll be great. Look, the second move. Look, yeah, I really agree. I really think France works on exposure. I just think they're that type of nation. You look at their sports, bro. Look at how they go crazy for soccer. Again, it's exposure. It's their teams being involved. And I reckon for mine, having Toulouse, right, who were previously in the Super League, back in it again would be great for the sport. Another thing as well, look, I reckon their players as well, having more exposure to the Southern Hemisphere, for example, Australia, New Zealand. A few years ago, the Penrith Panthers, I think it was 2016, they brought in Benjamin Garcia, who plays for the Catalan Dragons. He was actually brought over to play for the Penrith Panthers. Like, he got to experience that lifestyle of the NRL. I reckon some clubs would take a punt on bringing some of these Frenchmen over. I I love French rugby league. I'm in love with it, bro. So,
Yep.
the more that France grows, I think the more it, and we're talking about this off air as well. The more I think it does for the international game. So those are sort of like my suggestions, I guess. And just quickly as well, there is I forgot the guy's name, but they've had a new chairman come in. And this guy here sounds like a very passionate dude compared to the last guy. He said he's all there for for French rugby league. He wants to grow it. So again, I'm just hoping that this guy's not all talk, because I think France really needs someone who's going to move the needle in their country and for the rest of the world too.
Yeah, and actually, shout out to that guy. I forgot his name. I read that as well. And actually, for Serbia, it's great that France took a team to Serbia. I mean, probably 1,000 people there. Not ideal for making money. Probably lost money. Unfortunate in these cases, but still helping to grow the game in places like France, in Serbia, which if you actually look at it on a grassroots level, doing really good stuff. If Serbia are one of the actual solid areas, and I suppose with Greece and a few others that are really doing good groundwork in the international space. But shout out to France for that. But yeah, an untapped market. Would love to see Toulouse and Catalans as mainstays in the Super League. I just think they'll do, and even a Lyon at some stage or whatever could be done in a bigger city. That would just do wonders for the league. Now, in a side topic off of this is an interesting one, but I've heard Gus Gould say, that it should be in the best interests of the NRL to maybe even take over International Rugby League, buy out Super League, and use some of the tools that they have in terms of money, experience, in terms of growing and developing it. Do you think that's a good idea if at some stage that the NRL kind of take over the International Rugby League space, because they got all the resources and that? And do you think it's good if they probably even buy Super League, and then that might lead to more expansion in terms of into the French game? What's your thoughts on that one, bro?
Yeah, look, NRL and expansion. Anyway, look, I like that idea. I really do. Because NRL is such a NRL. They virtually have no one else to fight against, do they? They are really the big dogs in the NRL, in the rugby league arena, and unfortunately, the International Rugby League Federation is not doing much at all for the game.
No.
Now, granted, like you touched on it, right? A continent away, it's Jamaica, Canada, USA. Then a few days ago it was Serbia and France, but I just don't think that's enough. That's just not enough. I would love the NRL to do it, and I really think that they could work some magic here. So long as France is involved, I need to stress that out. And just quickly as well, France do have their own national comp as well. Again, not many people would know because it's not televised. But I'll definitely be, so long as, I'll be doing that. Bring him on, let him take over the Super League, absolutely.
And it's good from a sense as I've even thought they need to invest in New Zealand Rugby League. Why send kids over to be developed in Sydney or Melbourne or wherever? Why don't you just develop them in New Zealand? Build a semi-pro comp here, your own New South Wales Cup or Queensland Cup in New Zealand, and then just then you've got a finished product that literally just has to move over. I would love to see our kids stay in New Zealand, developed in a good system here. I think it's growing. We had schoolboys comp. I think we had like 21 teams last year. Now it's up to 38. So there's growth there, and that's across the nation. It's not like in pockets. It's South Island, everywhere. So there's positives there in New Zealand, but at the same time, could you do that in places like France? Build up their pathways, and like you say, increase the flow of guys from France coming to the NRL or getting signed to New South Wales Cup at least, or Q Cup. Get that interchange of player movement even better than what it's going right now. See more transfers from Super League to us and vice versa, where both leagues are flourishing and getting good talent going through. I think it is in the best interests of the NRL at some stage. I totally agree with you. France is a massive thing, and I think it's called, is it Elite 1A?
Yeah, that's
Elite
right.
One is Elite One is an untapped market as well, where probably needs a lot more investment. And if they, for being honest, they've actually got semi-pro, is it? Elite One?
Yeah, semi-pro.
You see, and even that's even more than what we've got it here in New Zealand. So I mean, that's like they're actually semi-pro. A lot of our players are just amateur. So that tells you that France has potential. to really grow. That's my thoughts anyway, man. Yeah. Expansion, brother. I know I've seen a lot of your posts, and I love expansion. I love talking about expansion. Maybe initially we'll just start off with who will be the 18th team in your eyes, and then how do we get to 20 teams, and when that time kind of happens, that time frame.
I love expansion. I don't like butting heads with people though. But everyone has a say, and none of it matters. What matters is what happens when the NRL sign. But I think for mine, a realistic approach. These only two. These two teams I reckon you go with. But I think realistically, Perth should be the next team. If you really want to try and make it national, and I keep saying this point, and I'll drive it until the cows come home, but if you want to make it national, you've got to look east. You've got to look westward. Sorry, you've got to look westward, and yes, that means not just blowing past South Australia as well, guys. It means looking at that as well. But yeah, look, Perth definitely 18 team or a second New Zealand team, bro. So that's where I'm heading at.
What Perth does for you, and I think about this is really important. You need people. Perth may not be able to, have. I think New Zealand's probably the best country to produce talent, rugby league talent, outside of the East Coast. But what can be done with Perth is that you can build a franchise, and we've already seen with the tribalism of AFL, Melbourne Storm to an extent. Not as big as AFL, but they've got their fan base. In a place that traditionally AFL, and then it's taken them 20 years, but they've produced a far longer. They've Tony Moipia's there. There's a few other ones coming through, and I know they've got their own junior systems now. They've got their own junior based teams. They're not they're not in Central Coast anymore or wherever it was, up in Queensland. I think so. You need to start now, or you need to start somewhere, and you're probably right. Perth has to come in. The other thing with the New Zealand one is that it's there. It's really ripe. Rugby league is ripe and ready for another rival. I think.
Yep.
It's whether or not they can get it on the ground, get some support behind it, but it's there, man. And it does wonders for rugby league. I know it's funny because there's heaps of rugby league people in New Zealand. You go to a Warriors game against Souths, heaps of Souths fans. Heaps of Broncos, there's heaps of people that don't like the Warriors, and I don't really understand why, but there's a lot of just rugby league people in New Zealand, and I know that another franchise based in their region, wherever it may be, would just and it gives you a game to watch. Like even us, we'd watch it, we'd support it. I would support another New Zealand team, and I think that's where we need to head to. Really, do you trust in Volandis, bro? You like Volandis?
Look, I like him. He's very eccentric, right? He's very eccentric. He's different. But yeah, look, I like the talk that he produces. He is so far, in most, I wouldn't say most cases, but in some cases he's been able to back up what he talks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I like it, and just quickly as well on that second New Zealand team, if it did happen. Obviously, would love it, because it's more rivalry, etc., fans. But I know the Warriors won't. The New Zealand Warriors wouldn't like it because, for the obvious reason, I just stated it right there. The New Zealand Warriors, that has to come down. That's going to cause a lot of controversy, and I don't want to be in the office when that happens, bro. Count me out.
Yeah. We'll go quickly into a 20 team.
Yeah.
20 team thing now, bro. There's I don't even think Brisbane's finished. There's still growth there. There's other expansion areas. Obviously, Adelaide will be putting their hand up, I suppose, in that range, in the 20 team range. There's the PNG, Albanese funded PNG potential. Who do you think those 19th and 20 teams will be, and where do they need to be in terms to add value to the competition?
Yeah, look, first I'm just going to probably address the Albanese PNG team thing. Look, this I'm personally against it, and it doesn't have to be PNG. It could be like a team from Tonga or Samoa. Just to clarify, okay, I'm Polynesian myself, so I just need to clarify that. I think for mine, the reason why I'm so against it is, number one, it's so politically driven. And I'm not even touching on the politics here. It just is like, the greater good of rugby league is not even in the equation here. It's literally some guys that want more money in their pockets, want more approval, and then apparently China's in the mix there as well. So it is all this political, political dribble. And I know a lot of us fans are all happy about it, but in the long run, does it really help rugby league? Is it going to be sustainable? Again, I question that. And then apparently it's not even going to be based in PNG. Apparently it's going to be based in Cairns. So is it really a PNG team, or is it like Queensland's fifth team? Again, just genuine questions. I just want to know. And again, is it predominantly just for PNG players? What if you're like a Māori young Māori kid from Rotorua who wants to try and crack at the NRL? And then you can't crack that team because you're not from PNG. It's questions, valid questions I'm throwing. I just want to sort of know what they're going with. Now that's been addressed, I'll leave that out there. Teams in an ideal world, Team 18 would be from Perth, Team 19 would be from New Zealand, and Team 20 would be from Adelaide. Let me explain why. I think a lot of NRL fans, I wouldn't say a lot, I think there are some NRL fans who are very one-eyed regarding expansion, and you sort of touched on it briefly as well, right? The whole AFL state, for example, I think a lot of NRL fans don't understand or not willing to understand that, times have changed, right? It's not the 90s anymore. It's not the early 2000s. How do I say this? Sport has become so progressive that you can look at these different states, Also, in line with the AFL have expanded into Tasmania in 2028. I just feel like for mine, the NRL, if they really want to be national, if they really want to try and combat against the AFL, I don't think getting a team PNG does that. I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, you want to go to Perth, you want to go to Adelaide, you want to have people, sort of like AFL planning a team in Gold Coast, right? And then a team in GWS, Greater West Sydney. I don't know. Those are my thoughts there, brother.
No. I think the idea is actually very sound. If you did go with a team from WA, and what you actually need to do is actually turn PNG and New Zealand into professional pathways. I don't think it's realistic to have a team from PNG. I don't think economically, and taking the politics into it is not a good idea. I don't think there's any sound validity to doing that. From a business, it's a business at the end of the day. Rugby league is a business, and I don't think there's any good business doing it that way. What I do think though is we need more PNG players in the NRL. They need to develop the Digicel Cup. They need to develop New Zealand pathways so that like we was talking before, you can use these players and take them to Perth as your expansion players while they're developing pathways in Perth and Adelaide. Those domestic comps there, they need a lot of work and will probably need the support of the NRL over time. But, why not strengthen your neighbours in PNG and New Zealand? Why not strengthen them to where that you've got just a massive player pool and they're able to supplement all the parts of Perth, Adelaide, while they're getting their development of their juniors over the next 20 years? Because it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time to build those pathways up, and I don't think they've invested in those pathways on the West Coast yet. And you could attest to that because you know what it's like in South Australia. And actually, while I've got you, bro, South Australia, how is the local comps there? Are they struggling? Is the NRL actually putting any money into them? What's the space like there?
Yeah, look, just quickly. So both WA and SA actually do have their own state comps, spearheaded by the NRL, thankfully. Both. So I'll just say that with South Australia, it's going strong. There are numbers that come. There are new participants that come every year, which is good, I suppose. You touched on it. I think one thing that South Australia misses out on, unfortunately, is just that continued resource funding. That's that continual push from the NRL, I suppose. But in saying that, though, the NRL do supply funding here and there, and actually the Volunteer of the Year award winner actually was someone I know personally from South Australia. So
oh wow,
So again, South Australia is doing their bit. They're noticed. So in saying that though, the comp's not too bad. And I went there a few years ago because I live in Port Augusta. It's a bit hard, but the comp's thriving. There's actually
Cool.
more teams now this year, so yeah.
Great. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. We've got to help some of our people that are, volunteers are great, bro, but these people doing it out of love. In New Zealand, bro, you come here, no one's got any money to run these clubs. They don't get any money. So it's people doing it out of love for the game, pure love. But that's what I'm saying is the NRL have the money. They could help fund and relieve, get uniforms, promote the game through schools. The Warriors are doing really good work through their promotion, but they can't be the only one driving it. They got to have more money, and same would go for WA and South Australia as well. So yeah, just the good things to think about, guys. I think we're both, me and you, have a similar mindset. We need to expand and need to grow our product. It can't just stagnate and stay in, southeastern Australia, Auckland, New Zealand. It has to go beyond. And you gotta, and when the time is right, I think the time is right for right now. Like, you think people aren't so in that mindset in the AFL states, like they're actually quite open to more sports and that type of thing. You reckon?
Absolutely. I've spoken to a lot of. I actually have spoken to a lot of people in South, even Port Augusta, bro. Like 3 hours away from Adelaide, bro. They're keen for NRL, man. Like they're keen to play rugby league, man. Look, all it just takes is just one team, and the momentum will be there, man. Like just yeah, that's what I'll say. And also Christchurch. I think that's the team. That's where you got to place the second New Zealand team. You may disagree, but Christchurch is where I'm leaning.
No. Christchurch is a real growth state. They're getting they got a new stadium coming up. There's a big rugby league community there that I think will initially help the team there. But the casual fan loves his rugby league here. Like you'll probably, bro. I bet you in New Zealand there's so much people behind the Warriors that can even tell you a name of a local rugby league team in Auckland. Do you know what I mean? That's the casual fan. But that's what I'm saying. That the NRL is so good at getting casuals on. They don't know grassroots, but you don't need to, as long as they're a paying customer. They're subscribing to Sky or KO, whatever, and they're paying for merchandise and attending games. And then that money will get to those people that are working in the grassroots, hopefully. No, really good discussion, bro. And you're someone that's very like-minded to myself in terms of expanding in international space. So it's great to talk those things, especially as we go into a little bit of an international window here. Well, quickly, man, I just want to get into a little bit of your story. So if you don't mind, just how you got involved into that, and we'll get into that right now. Guys, if I've already mentioned this about Hold the Ball, but if you haven't come across his content, and we'll get into some of his content later on as we talk about it, but just really good stuff, really, and it's expanding, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But I want to talk about your passion for rugby league, where you're from, how you got involved in rugby league, and when how did you become a Warriors supporter, and that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm born in. I'm actually from Auckland. I was raised in the North Shore, Glenfield represent.
Glenfield.
Yeah, G-Field. Look, how I got into the game. Look, it's my old man. Just watching, league, countless games. Almost every whatever game he watched, I'll be sitting there when watching, Sky Digital. Yeah, back in the day, Sky Digital.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they have it. Yeah. Anyway, just that's how it sort of started. And being a fan of the Warriors. Well, bro, that basically, when I was born, it was as soon as I could sort of understand the game itself, it was a team I backed. So, I remember like the early 90s, reading magazines and stuff on the Warriors and stuff like that. That's when Steve Kearney was playing for the Storm at the time, like that far back. I remember looking at him, like that. And even, and sort of just growing up, that's just how it started for me. Just, and unfortunately experiencing my first, I think, true heartache as a kid was the 2002 grand final. Like, my old man was upset, and I felt it. Like, damn, like that really hurt. So that's how I knew the Wires on my team, bro. So that's how it sort of started for me, man, growing up. So yeah, that's it.
Did you play for Glenfield, the rugby league team there, or?
No, I didn't play for the Greyhounds, unfortunately. I didn't
Yeah.
do that. It's sort of funny because, bro, even though I was like rugby league, my folks just put me into union, eh? So, unfortunately, I think honestly, unfortunately, I played union for the Mount Wellington Rugby League. Sorry, the Rugby Union Club at the time. Growing up there, yeah. So yeah, I grew up in Glenfield, moved to Mount Wellington for like a year or two, then went back to Glenfield.
Oh yeah, cool, man. Yeah, no, awesome, man. And bro, just quickly, when did you start doing content, Warriors content, or just sports content in general, and how have you found that space? Yeah.
This is gonna be pretty weird, bro. But you know what? I actually started content in 2018.
Yeah.
Unfortunately though, like 2020 or 21, I actually deleted my archives from YouTube, but I was actually called Holding the Ball. And I was like just talking about the Warriors and Fremantle Dockers, AFL. I was literally just talking about the two, I'll separate them. So it actually started from there, and then I stopped. And then early 2021, I thought I'll give it a good crack. This time more focus on the Warriors, and that's how it sort of started, bro. Yeah.
What was it? Honestly, I just I acknowledge you and others that came. I hope I didn't come on like a join in type guy, trying to take the. I literally just wanted. This is something I was passionate about too, and I was just so grateful to come across you, and you're kind enough to have me on your platform, and it was big for me to join you on there live, and really grateful for you. But if you can go back to 2018, what was the YouTube space like then for sports content, and was it quite different to what it is now?
Oh, bro, I think it was quite different. Look, in saying that though, I literally just had my iPhone, right? Not like this, but I just literally had this, just saying like this, right? Like placing like what, like a loaf of bread behind it just to try and balance it. And at the time, I really think there was a genuine curiosity, I think a lot of people coming into that space, because I remember there was a bit of engagement. I think a lot of people were very curious and very like, oh, okay, what's this? And I think for mine, like just at the time there, I think it was more so just a lot of curiosity, and people were like, okay, let's sort of slowly get into this. So yeah, that was my thought there.
Yeah, that very what you've done, and just really interested to see how you and it's interesting that you exit, you deleted your archives. What, if you don't mind me asking, what were your numbers, like how many followers did you built up over that 2018 to 2021, or I'm not sure.
No, got you. So brother, so it was basically from 2018 to like, I think I started in like August or June 2018 until like, I think like October and November 2018, like I stopped. Yeah, I was
just a short one. Okay, my bad. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, not all good. And but I remember the engage. Like I think the followers I had, I think it was around like the 80-ish to 100-ish mark. There was a lot of people there. Even I reckon there might even be some Waz fans who probably didn't remember me, who are fans of my channel now. They probably were back then, bro. So
yeah. No, it's just it really, and I like to hear that, because I mean I've come in at a time when sports content and Warriors content is probably at its peak, but it was always something I thought of. But just it's great to hear that you'd started so early, and now moving on to the Holdable, the channel that you've created, and look, you've got a big following, and now you're expanding into. Well, you were doing AFL, sounds like it. Are you Fremantle Dockers? Is that your team?
Absolutely, yeah, Fremantle.
Yep. Cool. That's the other Perth team, eh?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
You're not into the Adelaide Power or the Crows or anything? No.
Nah.
Didn't like them.
Nah.
Oh, actually, just quickly, man. How did you get into Fremantle? And when did you get into AFL? Was it when you moved to Aussie, or is it?
Nah, man, bro. Honestly, when I first so when I first came to Australia, this was 2007. Right, it was a while ago.
Yep.
I saw Crows like cutout mascot, right? And I thought, I didn't know Adelaide played rugby. That's literally a rugby league. That was literally my first thought. Yeah, that's how it sort of started. Look, honestly, bro, I only got into AFL probably late 2017. Really?
Yep.
Pick Fremantle after that. And the reason why is because I needed to expand my horizons because I was so Warriors focused, and unfortunately
Yeah.
the Warriors weren't doing it they weren't winning. So I was like, bro, I love this team too much. I've got to ease the stress. I open myself up to different sports, bro. That's
Yeah.
because the Warriors. I'm literally a Freo fan, bro.
That's a good one, bro. The team was that bad that they turned you away from. Hey, we've probably all done that at different times. Had to turn away from the team we love because they hurt us so much. Yeah. Nah, I get you though. I totally get that. I even myself when I got to Aussie, I got there in 2011, I think, and I was there for a little while, and yeah, I got into it a little bit. It's quite, you get exposed to things around you a lot more, It's weird because there's not much presence here in New Zealand, so I'm not thinking about AFL how I used to. But when I was there, like even last year, I was in Brisbane. I watched, the AFL when it came on. That's why I do agree with you. It's about exposure, and people learn rules for games all the time. You take someone to an AFL game, and if you show them, hey, see what that's happening here, the ball's on the ground, you'll get used to it, and then you'll figure out. People they're attracted to just things that are either popular, things that are interesting about the location. So it's exactly to what you're saying. We need to expand into Perth and Adelaide because there'll be people interested. There'll be hard out AFL fans. You take them they go to one game of rugby league, and once they learn the rules and understand it, they can at least understand it. And next time they watch it, oh yeah, I kind of get. Oh yeah, there's a forward pass, or knock on, whatever it is. And then they'll see Reece Walsh's forward pass. Hey, that's a forward pass. You got to teach these kids with the proper rules, not the the NFL ones. But yeah, good. And it's going back to that point. Yeah, really good. So what? And now that you're expanding into doing some AFL content, which I think is great. What was the kind of motivator for that? Was it just again led from passion, wanting to do more AFL content, or yeah?
Nah, look, bro, this is gonna be weird, but again, another weird story. But I actually had like a second channel. It was called Don't Argue Podcast. It was literally revolved around Fremantle and AFL. But because I've recently made moves to, bring AFL to hold the ball, I actually stopped doing that. I stopped posting there. So that's how it happened, bro. So yeah,
Okay.
I actually had an offshoot channel. Yeah.
No, that's cool, bro. I think it's great for your channel, man, to expand. And are you seeing a few AFL people come through now? And maybe people that like both codes. I'm sure there's people in Australia that like, and New Zealand that like both. Yeah, how's that been? They're slowly coming over? Yeah.
Look, it's hard to sort of gauge at the moment because I've just sort of made it so recent. But I'll tell you this, though. I don't think you'll see too many, you won't see too many Kiwi AFL content creators around. So that's one thing I have going. So again, it's about trying to tap into an untapped market, I suppose. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope I can sort of change some perceptions on people's thoughts and the way they think about AFL. Because I used to think like that too. Don't you worry. I used to hate the game, and then I actually, as you said, I watched the game, understood the rules, and bro, it's a beautiful game to watch.
Yeah, and it goes both ways, bro. You can, like I said, rugby league's missing out on opportunity in Perth and Adelaide to expose people to our rules, and like I think it's a space where people are consuming content no matter what it is: basketball, NFL, Premier League football. You just got to put your content available, and you never know who you might attract. So, no, really good point, man. And moving in the future, bro. Obviously we all want to grow our content, and is that the same thing for you? You got certain markers you want to achieve, or what's the growth for you in that space?
Oh no. I think for mine, I'm happy with whatever happens. I know that sounds cheesy, but I really am.
Yep.
For me, it's about just getting connected with people like yourself. It's about bringing that exposure, bro. Like I'm all about that connection through the Warriors, and I need to emphasize this. Like, if it's not for the Warriors, I don't make this stuff. Like, they're the reason why I made the content, and I'm sure you're the same too. Like, if it's not for the Warriors, then bro, that's it. Like, who knows what I'm doing? But yeah, for me, it's about that engagement, bringing more new eyes. But again, getting more people like yourself, bro, just to get into the mix, bro, and likewise share and learn from each other, which I think is really important.
Yeah, and I think there's a strong connection, especially with Warriors content creators. We've all been, I think, quite genuinely nice to each other, but there's a space there where we could all expand and grow. We've talked about doing a combined channel, some form of content. There might be option to help people kind of latch on and have something a bit more stable for everyone. But I think it's just gonna be awesome. And that's exciting, brother. And I'm grateful to again. I go back to me when I first started this year doing Instagram stuff and videos, but I had no vision to. I didn't even know who was out there. My furthest thing I did was I used to be on forums, Warriors forums, and that's as far as I went. And I'd soon realised that a lot of people that I was on the forums with had actually had their own content. So I didn't, for me personally, just doing this is, again, same with you, bro. I went with the flow. Just passionate about the Warriors, want to share my little view. And not my view isn't the be all end all, but it's been about sharing in community, man. So I really do appreciate you, brother, for help. I know going on your channel for that first time for me was massive. Was not expecting you to invite me, but I appreciate you spending your time and allowing me to be on there, and slowly over time I've just sort of built the podcast up, built up a few other things, and just very grateful, bro. Thank you for your kindness. You didn't have to do that, but you got a kind heart, and people in the other Christian, Warriorholic, all the other guys, everyone's been really kind to each other, and I think we should continue to do that, eh? Yeah.
That's it. Now, look, if I can just say something quickly, I appreciate that, bro, and I really like what you're doing and what you continue to bring as well. I just need to say that as well, and I think you bring a real sense of genuineness, like real sense of genuineness. These no nothing. It's just, this is it. This is what you're going to get, and I really appreciate that, bro. So again, I know you've been, sort of praising all of us as well, but I think you need a bit of praise too. So thank you for what you bring to the community as well, brother. Thank you.
No, thank you, man, and I look forward to catching up. I'm definitely going to be hitting Magic Round next year. I'm not sure if you will be. I'll try my best to get there.
I'll be there, bro. 100%.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. And we will catch up there, guys, and have an awesome catch up. We'll finish it up there, guys. Again, thank you to Hold the Ball. And guys, if you don't know, actually, brother, can you just tell everyone every space that you're at, where to find you, just quickly?
Yeah, look, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter and on Facebook. Hold the Ball. That's where you can find me at. Yeah, so just do that. Hold the Ball, and you'll find me, I'm sure. So yeah,
guys, subscribe to the Hold the Ball on YouTube. In every area. Awesome updates. Consistent, I know the bro, had a little break, and I'm probably gonna have a little break at some stage too. You can't do this all day, every day. But consistent, quality content, Warriors based, but also now we're talking about AFL stuff. Quickly on the AFL, brother, who you got? You got is Collingwood versus Brisbane Lions. Interesting. I haven't watched AFL this year, unfortunately. But who's the better team, and who probably win that one?
I think they're really similar, much like the Panthers Broncos game. They both bring some really good solid players into it. But for me, I'm gonna be tipping the Pies to do it. So Khan the Pies, Khan Collingwood. Let's go.
Okay, man. You heard it there, guys. Get your tips in. Collingwood to win. I'm not sure how they do the points spread there. Is it like 12 plus, or what do they do, bro? Two goals to I don't know.
No, it's 39 points, like 39 plus. Yeah.
Oh, 39 plus. Okay. Yeah. That's your 13 plus right there. 39 plus. So get in on that, guys. If you are doing a few tips. But thank you again, brother. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it, and we'll keep in touch throughout the off season and going into next year. Looking forward to the space, especially us Warriors creators. 2024 is going to be a massive year. 5 teams to follow. Juniors coming through that we're going to have to keep an eye on. There's so much for us to talk about. Exciting stuff, bro. Thanks again, man. And that wraps up the Wild's Up podcast. Peace. All good. Okay, my man.